Immortals versus CLG Game 1.
Yeah, first thing here for Champion Select, I want to start out. I'm looking at the mid lane for CounterLogic Gaming because Aurelion Sol is still not an option for any of the teams moving forward. And I'm very curious what direction they go with Huhi because the mid lane champion will oftentimes determine their strategy. And he's had good performances on Syndra, still can go the Taliyah. Very similar bans, actually, as we've seen both these teams have previously in their performances.
Exactly. The Rumble ban, of course, needs to come out against Huni. He got to have it one time in that five-game series against Cloud9. The other 4 was completely banned away and wasn't allowed to have anything there. But these bans don't leave a whole lot on the table that you want to first pick here. There's Karma as well, but still, Gnar is something that we saw Huni have troubles with. And he hasn't quite picked it up just yet, but we'll see.
Maybe he'll take it here. The bans are actually already done, and there is first pick now for Immortals.
Yeah, I have to say the Ashe is on the table as well. Definitely a high priority there because something that's really high importance right now are the globals in this meta. Gangplank, yes, is off the table. There's a lot of roaming mid laners plus utility from the bottom lane in combination with top lane teleport.
Exactly, and the Tahm Kench also off the table does increase the priority on Ashe because he's the champion that stops that pick from coming out. But whenever we come to a third place match, I'm always looking at what have the teams changed because they're both coming off of devastating losses in different ways. CLG 3-0, IMT almost had that series to the finals, but what have they changed this week? And Huni's Gnar is actually a breath of fresh air for Immortals.
Well, we're going to find out soon because CLG do have to lock in some picks here. Almost 10 seconds left, and CLG are taking their time.
Yeah, if I was CLG, I would probably save my counter pick for Huhi. One good thing for him, yeah, and they don't early pick the mid lane, but one good thing for Huhi is that Pobelter hasn't played a game of Cassiopeia all season long, and that has been one of the champions he has had the hardest time against. Pobelter, actually, very underrated mid laner. He has, if you look at the jungle proximity of the enemy jungler, Pobelter's the most camped mid laner in all of the North American LCS in the summer split.
Yeah, and then Huhi is the 9th most camped, so he's second to least. So he doesn't get a whole lot of attention, but he still ends up losing his lane a bit.
Meanwhile, we will touch on the last couple of rounds of picks here. There's the Karma that you're looking for. That is one of the bans that did switch up there for CounterLogic Gaming, and Immortals have chosen it on the second side. Both Adrian and Aphromoo, huge proponents of the range supports for an entire year now, and they're still 2 of the guys that have been playing it. This could very well be a Pobelter Karma in the mid lane. A little bit of versatility here for Immortals. But meanwhile, on the other side, the RekSai there, no surprise, and long-range Jhin for initiation for Stixxay.
Yeah, but ReignOver answers with the Elise instead of going with the Gragas here. So, this is something that he actually saw success on in the Cloud9 series. He played 5 games, 3 of them were RekSai, 2 of them Elise. The only ones he won were Elise, but it wasn't really his fault in any way, shape, or form. But he's been favoring that over Gragas.
And they were talking about it a little bit on the analyst desk, right? Where is ReignOver going to be? Elise is one of those junglers that has to be proactive in the early game, going to get off a lot of early ganks, and you have to worry about where ReignOver is now, because he very well could switch it up.
Well, we'll have to see, because Shen and Braum actually are the next few picks there from CLG, so Jhin, RekSai, Shen, Braum, a pretty good start there. We'll see what IMT have on the other side.
Some of those globals that we were talking about, Shen does come in. Into Gnar, Gnar does have a decent edge there, but if the Shen can just farm up and try and use Stand United, that's all that they are looking for. Also, there's so much importance on bottom lane fights now. Both Jhin and Ashe can start those up, and they have a lot of power at level 6, so both teams actually could be looking that way.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of double TPs now, focusing on the bottom lane. Mid laners have been picking it up. Pobelter and Huhi are both hovering it right now. We'll see if it does end up going through later on. But the Trundle comes through. Support for Adrian. He's been picking up those melee supports, and it's been working pretty well for them, but it's mostly for the Shen.
And here's the moment of truth. What are CLG going to use to counterpick here? Because we were looking for them to save their counterpick for Huhi. They have done it. The only problem is they're facing a mid lane Karma, which is very versatile and doesn't have to put herself in a lot of danger. So there we go. One of the champions that Huhi has had a lot of success on is the Syndra. I really liked his confidence in this champion and the way that he was able to get counter kills on even assassins like LeBlanc in the mid lane versus very formidable opponents.
And I guess that question maybe someone answered here. Teams haven't changed too much, it feels like. Here and there, there's a couple picks, but very stable drafts for these two teams here.
Yeah, what the main thing that does change with this is that CLG, their two main strategies are they either go with one of those roaming mid laners like the Taliyah, or they'll go with the less mobile Syndra here and just try and have Huhi have a more stable lane and actually have more control of it. When he is on this champion, he has a lot more control over mid lane than he usually does, because usually he's very low in CS and starts to give away some of that pressure.
Exactly, and we talked about how he doesn't get a whole lot of enemy jungle attention. With a Syndra, you pull that attention pretty hard because she can start snowballing these matchups. Against the Karma, though, she does have some tools to actually make sure she doesn't lose that matchup completely, heals and all that whatnot.
Well, it's time now to show your team colors out on Twitter. Vote using the hashtag IMTWin or the hashtag CLGWin. We'll monitor the fan vote and bring you results throughout this series, and what a series it should be.
Woo, very excited for this one. All right, I have to say, I'm very excited as well to keep track of Xmithie and how he deals with ReignOver, because one of the most impressive things is how Xmithie has been able to do with very hyped up junglers and keep his lane safe. He focuses a lot on Scuttle Crabs. Scuttle Crabs is going to be one of the stats I'm trying to keep track of before this opening match.
Scuttle stats indeed, as the teams are out onto Summoner's Rift for our first game of the NA LCS Summer Finals. Immortals going to move out here on the blue side. We'll see what CLG maybe have prepared. ReignOver just scuttling down the mid lane there. Looks like they'll fan out for now.
And Huhi actually goes with the Ignite. He was hovering the TP, then the Ghost, finally going with the Kill Summoner spell here, so even more potential to snowball in that mid lane.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about when CLG make the switches for mid lane control rather than mid lane roam and trying to affect the other lanes. Huhi on this champion goes for those kills, and we've seen him do it.
Yeah, and that's something that CLG have actually struggled with, is Huhi taking resources for himself instead of giving them away, and they've been working on that, and this is a champion that I think plays to that new strength that they're trying to develop on Counterlogic Gaming.
All that being said, I would not be surprised if Darshan uses the first Stand United to the bottom lane. Jhin Braum has a lot of kill potential. One of the other things that I was looking for in the level 1, whenever I see Jhin Braum, there's so much threat in level 1. You can have creative level 1 invades and try and get an early advantage. Looks like both of these teams, though, a little bit trepid in game number 1 of this series. Don't want to throw out anything crazy, and it is just going to be fairly standard starts here, as both junglers do start up on the top side as well. Very well could converge at the bottom lane Scuttle Crabs.
CLG certainly known for that creativity, but we will keep it calm for now. We heard it from the desk. Immortals, in particular, are a team that can ride a pretty big wave of momentum, but standard starts here for the dual lanes. They'll take their camps at probably around the same time. And I guess we'll have to watch, as always, for ReignOver and Xmithie. Where is that early jungle pressure going? We've heard it on this patch. It's usually going bottom lane.
Very well could be. As you see there, them taking those jungle camps. When you are taking a jungle camp with your duo, have your AD take a couple of hits early, because she's going to heal off of the last hits of the jungle champions, as well as the lifesteal that you're going to get through lane and your Doran's Blade.
And with Trundle, it's not a problem at all. Take those last few hits, the passive, healing him up right afterwards. Hasn't even had to use any of his stacks yet.
The AD is already at level 2. Total just trying to get some shots in. Does have a bit of a range advantage here.
Yeah, Ashe also has a pretty good level 1 shove advantage over most other AD carries with the volley there, and they've taken control of the minion wave, you can see, pushing it up in, and they're going to make Jhin CS under turret. Thankfully for Jhin, he's actually pretty good at it. Very high base damages here. Aphro and Adrian actually making the first moves up to help their junglers. This is the preemptive work that the supports are doing in conjunction with the junglers, fighting over that Scuttle Crab we mentioned.
Exactly, and we've been seeing this more and more, where the supports will start roaming towards those buffs really early on, just to try and get some control over them, because if WildTurtle and Adrian continue to shove, they could possibly contest this buff and put Xmithie behind.
Exactly. One of the extra things that pushes pressure on any sort of jungle objective or move that you want to make is, where are your lanes at this moment? Are they shoving up? Because if they are, then you get, of course, the earlier collapse from your teammates, and that can turn the fight. Meanwhile,
yeah, Pobelter and Huhi actually going to go face-to-face for a bit. Pobelter looking good so far in the lane, but we have seen Huhi really turn it on with the Syndra, and he will have threat here in the lane. Pobelter, though, as always, wants to be very consistent, very stable, and just kind of farm things up here. As we check in with our top lane, Huhi and Darshan trading early blows, and Minina, as expected, is kind of winning those early trades as well.
Yeah, like we talked about, that slight edge that Gnar's going to have over him. You know, early on, Darshan is just looking to farm and try and scale up to level 6.
And And ReignOver just trying to get some wards here in the jungle. Knows that the blue side is where you'll have your RekSai around this time. But in that mid lane, Pobelter, just going back to that, this matchup, the Syndra versus the Karma has a lot of tools to shut her down. She's low mobility, has a way to actually catch up to her, to root her, to have that gank assistance, but then also can save her teammates because she's going to be building a sizable amount of AP here. It'll be actually hard to execute some people because of Pobelter.
And as we see right now, Xmithie just going over that ward that ReignOver placed, so they know that they have a few seconds, but they can't stay too long.
Darshan went back in. He actually has Xmithie just behind him, but looks like ReignOver's going to escape for now. Repel should get Elise to safety. Huni was trying to play aggressive. Darshan did TP back to lane, but no gank there from ReignOver.
And I like that exchange for any jungler. You're just going to help out your lane because you're trading your health for a laner's health. Where the laner has to be in constant combat with an enemy champion, you can just go back into the jungle and farm now as ReignOver. At least very easy for her to clear out the rest of the camps. Meanwhile, Darshan got a chunk out that's going to make him chug this potion and helps a little bit with Huni's laning phase.
And also, ReignOver doesn't get punished by it because Xmithie's on that side of the map, not going to be counter jungling or getting any type of advantage over him. So you know where both junglers are, so your bottom lane gets to play aggressive and however they want in that moment, which is something you usually trade for showing yourself topside.
Ooh, maybe pressure here. Huni actually going to get flashed under by Xmithie. Does burn his flash to get away, though.
Yeah, that may have looked like a little bit early flash to a lot of people, but the threat of a taunt flash from Shen is always there, and you have to respect the extra distance added onto the taunt of the flash every time you know that the Shen does have flash, because so many people will wait too long for the taunt to start halfway through, and even though it's half a screen away, the flash comes in and you don't have enough time to react there. So good gank there from Xmithie. Does actually trade flashes, and it might make Huni play a little bit more cautiously. Maybe we'll see, that is determined by the wards that they put down.
Yeah, and we had seen it previously. When Huni doesn't have his flash and he gets camped, the attention that other teams put on him is very high. Darshan still has that taunt flash available to him, so a repeat gank would not be out of the question for CLG.
Plus, you always, as we say, want to get the Shen up to the level 6 point where you can start affecting other lanes. So as a jungler, if you put time into the top lane, you get returns on that. Pay it forward. Your top laner will take your ganks and then go to gank other lanes.
Well, Huni did TP back to lane, so just to trade there of summoners, they'll be slightly desynced. Pobelter damage in the mid lane from Huhi as the stun and the unload. The Brock, he actually burns the ulti. Hey, that's there! Huhi solo kills him!
I mean, we set it up for him, but look at that. Huhi comes up with the huge plays by himself. Huhi solo kill here in Toronto.
He lands everything, blows the flash, ignite, and Pobelter through the shield as well. Not enough to stay alive.
Turtle in trouble. Not good news as Aphro's going to stun him down. Stixxay moves in, and there's a second kill for CLG.
And Counter Logic Gaming off to a lead in Game 1 against Immortals.
Let's take a look at the reactions from Immortals because they lost a lot of pressure, but ReignOver went for an immediate counter jungle. All right, first we'll take a look at the replay here. Huhi, really good job moving around that sphere to get the stun. That Pobelter did not respect the spheres that are on the ground. They're previously from Syndra, and a really good job there from Huhi, knowing the damage that he can output at this level, taking that critical Ignite Summoner for this reason, and he's rewarded for it right at level 6.
And even went for the flash auto just in case another shield would possibly come out or anything could possibly save Pobelter.
That does mean that he has to play a little bit more cautiously now, and they're going to have to rely on maybe some more wards. Here's ReignOver, as I said. He went for a counter jungle immediately before we even started that replay. So he took away 2 camps here, basically. Most of the Raptors left one small one there, and comes away with the red. That's the small thing that you're going to pay for, those extra moves and gank down bottom.
Well, nice bit of damage control there from ReignOver, and no conversion from CLG other than the kills. Means the objectives will stay neutral for now. Huni still farming up, looking pretty good. Actually has a nice CS lead here versus Darshan. He's going to get this wave pushed towards the turret.
And that's a lot of the reason why Immortals actually aren't down significantly in gold. It's because of the extra CS that they have had, where they are winning slightly in those lanes.
Trades do continue here as Huni trying to be a nuisance as always.
And speaking of being a nuisance, right here at the bottom side of the map, Xmithie invades and Turtle.
Ooh, not again. Turtle, there's the one snipe. There's the second. Knocker's not there, but there's Stixxay with another.
The bottom lane level 6 kill potential that we talked about comes to fruition here. First for CLG, and now they're invading on ReignOver.
We're not done perhaps. ReignOver tagged in by concussive blows as Aphro gets him with the Q, but CLG do have to retreat. Looking a little dangerous.
Let's also give CLG priority on this red buff and bottom turret, and now you have to choose as Immortals which one you defend but it looks like it is going to be giving up a little bit of both. Some damage there on that bottom turret.
Aphro going to move his way back down. Stixxay does get the chip damage, and Xmithie steals the buff. But again, good presence here from CLG to play to the strong side of the map and try and get Stixxay ahead. But no conversions on the objectives just yet. I mean, the map is still very close.
You have so many more options and have so much more. Oh, here we go, though. Invade again.
Knock up there from the Umbara. ReignOver's going to flash out. CLG do not follow. And no ult from Stixxay means that they probably have to give that up.
And they're able to do this and have this type of confidence because they know Huni's TP is down and Darshan has his stand united. This Shen is actually a great pick against the way Immortals love to play because it makes them play towards bottom side of the map where they don't have the tendency to want to go.
Exactly. There are so many things going in favor of CLG's bottom lane right now. You mentioned the Shen, also the solo kill in mid lane. This is what we talk about when we say teams have been looking to learn to play around mid lane, and it's taken CLG a long time. But they used the mid lane pressure to also go for these consecutive invades. Xmithie didn't even have to spend his presence mid. He was bottom for the first gank. Then they get to invade. Then they get to go for the second gank down bottom. And now they still have stand united in their back pocket.
Well, we're about to crest 10 minutes, so let's take stock of the current state of the game. In fact, let's check out the fan vote instead. Ooh. IMT just ahead of CLG. That Canada buff from Turtle really helping out.
Turtle's Canada buff confirmed more important than hot shots.
I mean, that's the battle, right? Hotshot's buff is actually compensating a little bit here because Immortals, we're talking about 17 and 1 or 17 and 2. 17 and 1 in spring, 16 and 2, same roster, right, coming in. And honestly, CLG didn't win a single match against TSM, the strongest team versus what was supposed to be the second strongest team coming in here. There's a lot in Immortals' favor from what you would think coming in.
Oh yeah, I mean, think back to spring split. Immortals had the same thing where it was such a great regular season, then it collapsed in the first round of the playoffs. Yet, they still pulled it together. This is a team with composure. These are all veteran players on the Immortals lineup, and they have been in this position before, and last time they were victorious.
You can see game nice and even as a result. CS pretty much clean across the board, except Darshan's a bit behind. Kills up, of course, for CLG as Adrian may be going a bit aggressive. Aphro puts up the Unbreakable, and Stixxay is safe to continue farming up their minions. CLG, they had about 1,000 gold up. They're kind of floating between 800 and 1,000 gold ahead here, but really early on, that's not a big lead.
Yeah, I have to say the important thing right now is still the floating first gold on the turret. Because when the first turret does fall, so many things happen at once. It's late into the game, so you're getting a lot more map control. Also the obvious extra 400 gold that was just added to it, but it's a bit bigger of a snowball now than it was previously. We'll have to wait till we get to that chapter of the book, though.
Like I was saying, CLG, good pressure early on, but no conversion, as we do have a pause here.
Yeah, it's just an audio pause here for CLG at the moment, and we'll get that cleaned up as quickly as possible. But man, this game off to a very quick start for those guys. They've got to be really happy. As you said, we heard on the analyst desk, CLG are very much the underdogs coming into this, and Immortals, a little bit of a rocky early opening for them.
Yeah, there's always, you can't count Immortals out, even coming into the semifinals. Against Cloud9, that was a big upset because they were expected to come out with a victory based on their record and how they were performing. But, oh man, coming into this, again, third place match, that has to weigh on them a little bit because you don't want to come in and go, man, we just can't play in playoffs. What's happening? And their ultimate goal is Worlds. Both these teams want to go to Worlds, and Immortals, if they win this, that's their better chance of going higher seed in the North American Regional Qualifier and a possibility of actually skipping Cloud9, who beat them.
Well, I mean, bigger picture here as well, even just in the game, as again, we are looking to resolve the issue ASAP. Immortals, we talk about it, they come into playoffs, they're the hot favorites for the most part. This was the first time in this year that they weren't coming into the summer. TSM were barely above them. And what did they change? They had a rough play against TSM in their semifinal, come here again, lose a heartbreaker there to C9. And we talked about it. They went back into the third, fourth place match against Liquid and just changed a whole bunch of stuff. Huni playing Gnar. I don't know where his Gnar's been all year, let alone just in the playoffs.
It's funny that you use that as an example of like, oh, my mind is blown. The top laner's playing Gnar. But it's because, Huni has such a diverse champion pool, and he's got all these counter picks that he's famously used. He had the Kennen success on that. Everyone's banning Rumble against him. He's the only top laner where Rumble is a mandatory ban against this team. There's a lot of versatility that they can have there, but they also change up so much stuff and so often.
Yeah, that's the big thing for me. When I was looking at the bans from Immortals versus Cloud9, Immortals had only 5 unique champions banned against them. They were kind of figured out a little bit by Cloud9, whereas Immortals, every time they lost, they would switch up so much and ban 10 unique champions, twice as many as Cloud9, and they really went through so many different champions as well. Huni played a unique champion every single game of that series for a total of 5. That is honestly just crazy that they keep changing things up, and it's just, you know, maybe a little bit of panic, but maybe also they're just trying to figure out what they need to do to win.
Well, right back in the game, so no problems there. Is Huni going to get taunted up by Darshan? He's Mega Gnar right now, but now pop back into Mini. Darshan, I will say, is actually timing these trades quite well.
Yeah, went right for the transformation back into Mini Gnar, and used the Spirit's Refuge there to dodge some autos as well to get that trade in. But CLG is a big move mid here to try and pressure this turret. You know, first turret doesn't have to be bottom. It could very well be mid.
And remember, CLG, they're always looking for that first turret. Here comes the arrow from Turtle.
Turtle looks for someone, he nails Xmithie. But Immortals not able to follow up. CLG, will they continue the siege? Sort of pulling back a bit now.
That's the thing you always have to watch out for. Yes, first turret is so big and it is a bit more swingy now, but it can be used as a bait so often, especially with all the utility coming from bottom lanes, like the Ashe arrow here. Immortals' first attempt, though, goes unsuccessful, and that cooldown early on is significant. You know, haven't built up Essence Reaver or any of that type of stuff for Ashe yet, so the first arrow there being a non-event is actually a pretty big issue.
Especially since Huhi doesn't have something like a cleanse. If you were able to time that arrow with the gank from ReignOver, you could stop the snowball from coming through, because you can see Huhi just has so much pressure in this lane right now. He has that solo kill, and he has the CS advantage.
Yeah, Syndra, while it is a strong lane champion, you know, you can get those solo kills at level 6, very vulnerable. Does not have her own escape, and there is an Elise on the field, so all those things could add up to make him play more cautiously. Now there's one less threat to worry about. CLG transition down to bottom, and they do get the first turret goal.
Darshan back in the top lane though. And Stixxay just reloaded the gun in time.
Bait.
Xmithie's here. It is certainly a bait. Darshan looks to go back in again, but Huni's got Mega. Scoops Xmithie away. Another TP's in from Pobelter. ReignOver's here as well to turn things around. Xmithie tunnels his way to safety. Huni is still going to chase. He's tanking up the turret, but Darshan now might be able to keep them away.
Oh, here comes Huhi.
Gives him a shield, but that's a kill. Darshan's down. Xmithie's low, and there's the double for ReignOver. Huhi comes in, but he cannot convert. ReignOver barely gonna live.
They're standing united in the fountain.
Here comes Aphromoo.
Oh no, right from bottom lane. Pobelter looking to get stunned with Immortals. Could they turn it around? Huhi looks for one, finds Huni. Aphromoo low, but he's not going down. Even Stixxay and Adrian are going at it, and Adrian's winning right now. Stixxay, reload the gun. He needs to shoot another.
He's got flash and heal, but he's not going to go for
Not
it.
enough mana for the W. Can't snare him anyways because his attack is timed out, but what an amount of chaos there up on the top side. Let's look at ReignOver. Our Xmithie's actually bottom now for Turtle.
Yeah, Turtle was pushing the entire time, so he has to use the Void Rush to get down here and clear this minion wave out so he doesn't lose his turret.
So many RekSai games for ReignOver. I associate the champion.
I know, it's the same thing, right?
Certainly is. The Stixxay going to go back to base. CLG starting to open up the map, and all of a sudden we talked about it. That one turret goes down and just chaos descends.
And this is big for CLG. The kills that they end up getting are on their carries, Stixxay, and you end up seeing that Huhi picks up one as well.
So look at here. We're talking about, oh yeah, they're baiting right now. Darshan is backing off now because he knows that there is a teleport available, and ReignOver roams up mid. So Xmithie actually caught onto the disengage a little bit late there, and then he decides to go back under the turret saying, hey, stand united me under the turret, maybe we can use this turret to try and fend them off. They just collapse on Darshan, kill him first, and then finish off Xmithie. This is where it gets dicey though, because look at Aphromoo in the river, that Braum running up the river. He's been running a long time, finally makes it here, and they are gonna be able to clean up one with this, but that's the only amount of kills here for CLG as the Stixxay and Adrian ultimate battle there between AD and support turned out into just a flashbang burn.
Somewhat essentially though, CLG do hold on to that top lane turret. So we'll see if they can leverage that. In fact, they're going to make it 2. Huhi, with a bit of help from Darshan, able to take 2 structures to 0, and all of a sudden that gold is actually adding up very quickly. They got the first turret gold, they're able to get the one in mid lane as well, and all of a sudden CLG have so much room.
Yeah, and the fact that they were able to defend that top side turret, and now they're putting their duo lane towards that top side, just means that they're trying to hang on to it just a little bit longer, clear those minion waves out, and actually match Immortals, who now have the one-on-one in the bottom side of the map. That's a long lane for Huni.
And this is that kind of macro play CLG have always been able to lean on there along with their team play. Looking very clean here against Immortals.
Yeah, one thing they have not always been able to rely on, though, is victory in the early game. And this is what is surprising to a lot of people watching this. CLG get a solo kill mid lane for first blood, and then Xmithie, with a bunch of repeats ganks bottom, is having a bigger impact in this game as far as snowballing the early game for them than ReignOver had, even though ReignOver got 2 kills.
Yeah, and apparently the strategy is shut down Huni. It's not happening. You're just not giving him any opportunities, though, and you're having fights away from him. So CLG, with this early lead, are able to actually have the potential to snowball here. And I love that Immortals, you know, looking at their Cloud9 games, they had only 1 lead out of those 5 games. And coming into this, again, not another game lead.
I like the idea. It's kind of go wide. It's like, all right, win everything else and leave Huni and
Avoid
Darshan
him.
alone. I mean, they've got the Shen, they've definitely got options, but Huni is building a very significant lead. Frozen Mallet already done. Seriously, there, Darshan burns TP again, and Huni's just working on the turret.
Yeah, that's the secret strats of Shen. Go elsewhere and fight the rest of the team. But honestly, I have to say, Huhi here is the big story. He's also got 184 CS now, ahead of the 10 per minute mark. Got that solo kill added on the other one with the roam, and there's a lot of control coming out of this mid lane. You can see they're trying to work off that by going for deep wards as well as routing around Pobelter.
And you can see that he's already 1,300 gold up here. Huhi is doing work in this mid lane.
And now it's going to collapse onto the side lane. All this mid lane control leaking over into the other sides as they move up for a 4-man. The minions got cleared out, though, so this might be dicey. Darshan could stand united up there, but you know, turret defense is a bit easier now than it used to be.
Huni did burn his ultimate, so won't have that option. I think was just about to turn back and decided to harass down a bit. Darshan could make it, but Hui's actually looking for a pick. He ults ReignOver. Damage is good. Q lands. Is that enough?
No.
Not quite. ReignOver barely
no
lived.
No hit on the scat of the week either. Here comes the curtain call.
Adrian is getting destroyed. Huhi wraps around the turret for 1. Xmithie takes out Turtle, and the IMT bottom lane evaporates as CLG gonna look for another turret.
Yeah, you have the option of the stand united, and they saw Pobelter went back mid to try and put pressure on that mid turret. CLG said, all right, time to get that last outer turret, and they stick to their plan and their rotations, and it works out.
This is one thing that's so good about CLG is they stay proactive when they do get those early leads, even though they're rare. Aphromoo has been one of the best in-game leaders that we have ever seen here in North America, and he's keeping the team constantly looking to increase their lead and look for the next move.
And something that CLG hasn't had him on this split is melee supports. He's been playing things like Nami. He was very slow to adapt to what the Korean meta was, where you had those melees, the Trundle coming back out, the Tahm Kench, the Braum as well, and now he has a playmaker in his hands again. That's not barred.
Well, CLG off to a really nice start now. 3 turrets to nothing, 6 kills to 2. And approaching 5,000 gold in the lead here at 19 minutes. We talk about the CLG late game and teamwork, but you said it, Kobe, the early game's looking great. Stixxay has double damage items. Huhi is outputting a massive amount of damage, and sure, Darshan started floating that lane and saying, yeah, I am losing, but I can still help because that's Shen's thing, and it's working out so far for CLG.
Definitely can say that again. For Immortals, though, to try and look at it from Immortals' side, anytime there is a big difference like this, just have to try and overload one area. Look for that Ashe arrow to catch someone from CLG off guard, and they're trying to look for Darshan since he would be able to stand united on anyone else that they look for off guard, but he just backs off. Immortals do get that turret gold, which they definitely need, though.
And now they're going to the source of the global, shoving in the top side, and now, can they get out of this? Because Aphromoo might have inside track, but no, it looks like they're actually going to loop around here on the mid lane. And possibly, look, here comes an arrow.
Yeah, maybe arrow. No one?
Stixxay?
Goes wide that side. Oh, hello!
Yeah, that's who he was aiming
Boom!
Yeah, well, I mean, if that's what he wanted, that's what he got. Perfect aim from WildTurtle.
Well, I have to say, Turtle has hit all of the arrows that he got.
This is true.
They just haven't been able to capitalize.
It's the team's fault, man. Just not there in time to initiate 5 screens away. CLG are going to start our first Drake of the match. It is the Cloud Drake. It's a little late for this one, but CLG, they might as well take it. Building up that map pressure now. Oh, never mind, map pressure, ReignOver.
Oh, ReignOver?
Huhi got a huge stun to start that off, and Aphro's going to chase it in. Kagasi blows in, Darshan flashes forward, look to return and doesn't get it. Shields going to keep him alive as Huni with the wraparound takes out Stixxay.
They left the Jhin in the back here, and Huni finds his kill. That's where Immortals' strengths lie, and now they're trying to chase out for more, but it's very dangerous.
Huni actually looking aggressive maybe around the turret.
And he's low on mana too. He's their big wave clear that's left here. They might have to cede this middle turret to Immortals and back off.
Mini Gnar awfully annoying. Immortals still trying to poke them off, and they are going to take this mid outer.
What a risky play for Immortals, going for that pick while Stand United is available, but they played it really well. Backing off of Huhi as the Stand United was coming in, waiting out the duration, and then kiting as long as they could until Huni arrives there on the Gnar, and he's able to find the Jhin in the back line. Stixxay being left all by himself.
And it looks like as soon as the engage came out, the cocoon was returned so that he couldn't get blown up. And hey, you can't see him. But hey, actually soaks the last shot too to the face and takes barely any damage from it.
The problem with being the sniper in the back lines, right? Everyone's like, oh yeah, he's just firing there. He's got to be fine all the way there in the back lines. But Huni finds his way, and pretty big comeback here for Immortals, I have to say. Even though they've got more steps ahead of them to make that comeback convert, that was a much-needed mid-game move.
Couldn't whip the pistol out fast enough, maybe, to take out Huni, as Immortals do, in fact, cleave that gold lead pretty well in two. Pobelter going to get himself the blue buff, and they'll continue playing forward. And again, 3 turrets to 2 now as Immortals open up much-needed space for themselves on this kind of top half of the map. The next track will be an Inferno. We're minutes away from that one now, so definitely some patience here for the two teams. They do look to continue farming through the mid-game. But again, with the Shen, with the sidelines, with how aggressive Immortals have been looking to play, both teams need to tread very carefully here.
Yeah, and you can see CLG on this bottom side of the map trying to ward it up, trying to push Huni away. And Huhi arrives on the bottom side of the map, and they know there isn't an answer on the top side yet. A little bit too far, and Darshan will just hang out here.
Yeah, I think it is still a bit difficult for Immortals to take a team fight, as Ashe is still really powering up, whereas Jhin is spiking. Uh-oh.
What'd you say, Kobe? Never mind. Huni gonna get it turned around.
He got him.
Stixxay snipes him. Another bullet's gonna ride in. One more shot. Hits Pobelter, but it does not get him. Pobelter, awfully low. Xmithie gonna chase him out of the tower and does take him down. Darshan arrives. WildTurtle gonna eat a taunt. Puts up the W. Turtle's gonna get crushed.
They're going to get an ace!
They're going for it. They're going straight under the turret. Adrian is the only one left alive. CLG dive for it, but they can't quite get it.
Not quite there at the end, but oh my god, Stixxay with the clay pigeon play there onto Huni. Tries to jump away and gets shot down, and that's CLG taking a 5,000 gold lead.
And these are those consistent, proactive moves from CLG. They again turn all their attention towards objective on the bottom side and don't hesitate, going immediately for that kill. They recognize they have the numbers advantage, plus the extra global of the Shen coming in with Stand United, and man, they just run straight through the turret. All right, Huni getting aggressive here on the outside. Stixxay lands the snare. They immediately all in with the double ultimates from Huhi and Stixxay, and then all bullets hitting there. Plus Stand United means that Xmithie's going for that dive.
Yeah, ReignOver repelled right then, and the bullet went through and still hit Pobelter for the crit and allowed him to die, and then they just dived there. Yep.
I didn't notice Stixxay died to that last turret shot, but that's a little unlucky. Flash burned as well.
I mean, might have cost them an extra tower or two. They did take the bottom tier too, but certainly maybe a little high for there for Stixxay. He does get himself executed. CLG though, still with a nice little siege. And you said it, feels like this is their time to really force fights, and Immortals' aggression did cost them quite a bit there.
Right, and it's because they have so much burst damage here. The Jhin had the completed flat armor penetration, plus the Syndra right now on her 2.5 item spike. You saw how much the ultimate did there. Pretty much taking any countermeasures that Huni could try and take out of the window as he got snared up and bursted down immediately. Now CLG just returning to try and clean up the minions before they prep for the next move. And it's something you always have to do as well. Do your homework first. Try and push out your minion waves before you go for another one of those fights.
CLG are getting Baron control now. Scuttle control, you're talking about a Kobe? CLG actually have had a pretty dominant hold on Vision in this game, and they've been able to get it on the bottom side and the top side of the jungle and wherever they want.
I thought that was the blue buff for a second. It was actually just Xmithie. Does get wrapped up there. Pretty tanky early on the RekSai here. We did see on the bottom lane earlier though, as Huni and Darshan still going head to head. Huni with a big lead and those two kind of split pushing style items. You can see that Darshan can kind of hold, but kind of eventually Huni's going to win that 1v1, at least for now.
Yeah, I mean, Darshan just has to turtle at his turret and clear out the minions, right? You know, maybe Huni can get in one auto on the turret, but whenever he goes that close, then he's in taunt range, and that makes it very dangerous for him to ever try and push this turret down aggressively, even though he may have, you know, some small advantage in the 1 versus 1. All Darshan has to do is hold the line.
Yep. And that's how they're planning on shutting him down, is just keeping him occupied and making sure he can't do what he wants to do.
Another taunt. Huni and Darshan will trade back, but no one in the area, so it's just a bluff from Darshan.
And at this point, Shen actually does a sizable amount of damage to the Gnar that has no resistances under his belt and flat HP. Because the percent HP that he's going to be doing with his Q, it actually adds up quite quickly.
Definitely want to get that pass through on the sword to get it increased as well. And we'll take a look at the other side of the split push, which is going to do most of the work.
Oh, that's a stun landing in. Pobelter gets blown up. Huhi now unstoppable as he's going to get CC'd up. Darshan looking to protect him. It's actually enough in the Spirit's Refuge. Huhi lives. Stixxay still firing shots under the turret, and CLG, they're going under the tier 2. Adrian, stunned up by the Braum, is going to go down. Stixxay a little low as Xmithie tanks just enough for CLG to get that kill. Huni wants it though, does play proccing, he's going to go back in for it. Huni playing very, very aggressive.
Yeah, he got there late. There wasn't a good TP point for him. He ends up TPing behind the fight, or right in front of his, or behind his own lines, and he had to just walk up, and it was too late, but Huni really wanted to do something.
Yeah, with the extra second added on to teleport, it takes a long time as well, and didn't even use it there. Now it's going to be the Drake. Actually, now he's going to use the teleport, and WildTurtle's arrow on cooldown, so they don't have an arrow for this.
This is bold, but Immortals are going to perform the pincer. Who can they peel for? Pobelter TP'd in as well. CLG maybe getting cut in two. As well, he's going to move in. Huhi blows up WildTurtle this time, and CLG just going crazy. Pobelter the next to get stunned. CLG just have too much damage. Huni going to get himself
But he almost had Mega.
Going back in, can he make the play? Wallop's there, but Xmithie's just too tanky. Darshan
He's got flash.
cuts up one, he goes in. Big Gnar ultimate. Wallop follows in as well. Huni able to barely turn it around, but Huhi's going to live on a sliver of health. And now Adrian's stunned up. Huni, that was everything he had, and it's just not enough.
And Immortals throw themselves at CLG, but they come out on top just barely.
Immortals felt like they had to make a huge play to get back into this game, and that's the style they like. Keep throwing out those plays, but CLG are able to hold calm after taking the Drake. The big crucial moment is when Huhi turns on Turtle Hill. Turtle tries to get in there for an auto, but Huhi has the ultimate back up and available on Syndra, and AD Carry has no chance there.
You're absolutely right about the TP from Huni. He still had it. It comes through, and him and Pobelter on the bottom side of the fight. Pobelter wasn't locked for the world, but Huni still had his summoners available, still had his Gnar available, and just converted over.
That would have been one of the most magnificent 1v5 moments if he could turn that around for Immortals to get it. But CLG do rally there, and they are able to hold in the post-Drake fight. Now they have an extremely large lead that they should try and continue to pressure into Immortals territory.
And you can see that on Huni's face as well. This has to be a very frustrating game for him. He can't kill anyone.
We're going again though. Xmithie and Darshan with the tag team. Adrian knocked up there, and Stixxay, huge crit. As Trundle's going to barely live with his ulti on Huni. He wants it again. He's got the ulti.
Transformed.
Prepping it up, but CLG know they're going to kite back and try and time out the Gnar bar. CLG disengaged successfully. No kill, but no worries there for CLG. Oh my god, Huni, you're crazy!
Quite.
They got Huhi, that might be enough. Darshan taunts him. He needs to wear off the Mega. They're stunning him as best they can. Darshan maybe going to give himself away. Darshan low though, Pobelter looking what he can. And there's a kill back for Immortals now. They're going to keep chasing their way in. Stun misses in for Huhi, but Immortals, they want more. Aphromoo trying to protect his team. He does save it. As Xmithie going to go back in. Huni goes down there to Xmithie. As CLG turn it on again. Turtle lands on Stixxay going nuts. Turtle does it, but Stixxay, oh my god, he sniped everyone.
Oh my goodness! CLG are not backing down from Immortals' consistent attempts here. And Immortals are going for these fights, down over 7,000 gold and making them look incredibly close here. They tried to re-engage because they saw Stixxay show himself in the top lane. So they know they have to throw everything at it. They Ashe arrow and go for the re-engage. But man, what a close call there.
And these skirmishes has got to be your dream, Pastry. So many fights coming out here. There's more kills than there are minutes in this game. And it's all because of these brawls. Immortal are just trying to get CLG down in the gutter to fight with them and play their style. But CLG at the same time, they're already there. They're already trying to play that, pick them off. And now Huni shows up, Now, he doesn't care that some of his members are half HP. He just got here. He's ready to fight.
Yeah, he's got Gnar ready, so he wants to force this. They know that they don't have too many options, but inside jungle corridors where he can Gnar against the wall would be one of them.
Yeah.
Now they see Stixxay shows himself in minions on top lane right now. That's why they go for the Ashe arrow onto Huhi, and they're going to try and force this engage because they have the numbers, and that's the only way that they can win one of these team fights. Immediately take down Darshan, but the counter kill from Huhi, and now the CLG members start to collapse and arrive.
Yeah.
Aphromoo shield.
And Xmithie had back, and then he void rushed back in, and oh, wait,
We're not done.
we can't get done with
Don't
it.
even worry, Huni gonna get stunned up again, but he's pretty tanky. Nars Darshan away, but Huhi managed to go legendary to get that kill. Adrian also gonna get himself chased down. The taunt's gonna miss, but they've got plenty to follow in. There's the double for the Syndra. 11-0-9. Huhi's Syndra showing up here in game one.
This is Immortals-style League of Legends here. They continue to force. Now CLG have complete control over this Baron, though. ReignOver does have flash. Maybe there's some kind of magical hero play, but they're not going to actually take that much of a risk. And CLG will grab the Baron to try and push with.
And the crazy thing is this is Immortals-style League of Legends, but they were excluding Huni from it because CLG were having action away from him. They're like, what is Immortals like when Huni isn't here, when we have the threat of a Shen coming down, and they played the first 30 minutes like that, and now Huni's finally getting some of the action, but it might be too little too late. 9,000 gold lead, and Baron, CLG, look at this.
Yeah, we're approaching real issues here for Immortals as far as CLG's lead is concerned.
Oh, he hit it!
They actually sniped Huhi. Stand United going to shield him up, but Huni can chase in. Needs a little more, but Darshan going to escort the Syndra out. And CLG, as always, united in the junglers. They want to go for more. That's ReignOver's flash forced away.
Darshan's teleporting to try and push quicker. What?
What?
Maybe he was trying to teleport to cut someone off?
Maybe, but not successful there for CLG. Darshan now done both globals. There's the Baron buff pressure. Maybe getting them a little too keen to try and get this game one.
That definitely was a little bit messy there from CLG, and they have pretty much all the advantages that you could want at this stage in the game. Immortals are doing a good job of delaying counter logic gaming and buying themselves some more time.
I'm going to clear out the wave there. CLG looking to prep the rest of the map here. Drake is up in 5 seconds. Good to see him here in the Canada Center. And looks like CLG will take this one down as well. They've had good control so far. One Inferno on. This will be their second cloud. Immortals know it is not the right time to defend. CLG going to keep applying pressure.
And we've been talking about how Immortals, they're doing a good job of staving off the pressure and making sure that the game doesn't end just yet. And the longer that CLG takes to close this out, the more powerful that Immortals get to try and match them. What happens when Huhi gets hit by a cocoon and blown up? That's why Immortals like these fights, because they know that they're so mechanically good in them that it takes one fight mid-late game for them to win the game.
Yeah, towards the late game, not only does Ashe go really well, Turtle's finally getting into the crit build and starting to come together for him. He's still a full item behind, but on the tank lines, Trundle rises so much in priority here towards the late game. Well, we're not going to get to that because opening up here.
Oh my God! That's 1,400 health just dissolves in front of ReignOver's eyes. The CLG will take their 6th turret of the game, and they're not done.
Well, everybody's concerned with Huhi blowing them up with magic resistance, so they don't have any armor against the armor pen build.
CLG just breaks straight through the middle here. IMT just can't really do too much. They might look for another one. Huni actually caught out CLG. They spot the flank, and that's the mini Gnar flashing out. Huni going to be tied for a while. CLG, they have not slowed the pace.
Oh, now they just have to defend.
Yeah, they did get the turret down though, so inhibitor turret is down for Immortals, and this defense is still going to be very difficult for them. Even though they're getting a pretty good chunk here, chunk onto the enemy mage is the most valuable because they can't
no! WildTurtle snacks a couple, but it's just the tanky members that actually ulti onto Huni. Stixxay! Where did ReignOver even go?
to the fountain.
Yeah! The Express, the Fountain Express there from Stixxay. As ReignOver gets delivered straight back into the death chamber. 40 seconds, he's down. CLG with the power play, gonna push in mid 5v4.
A lot of them are half HP though.
Oh,
They can
WildTurtle, not a good time as Xmithie gonna flash in for it. Pobelter actually does snipe Aphromoo. So it's a 4v4 for a little while here.
If they hang around, Immortals might have a chance to get back in this. Look at Huni!
The snipe Huhi will get protected by the Stand United. Oh! Pobelter melts as Stixxay is destroying people. And CLG gonna push in, try and take it. I think Immortals, the inhibitor, it'll be collateral here. And it does finally fall.
A 1,400 crit. Absolutely insane. Oh, again!
Woo! Can't cast it anymore.
The
happening too quickly.
Yeah, I mean, this is a 2 carry composition from CounterLogic Gaming,
Nice
but
carry.
the 2 carries have 22 kills between them.
They got the first 4 kills and started to snowball, and they said, you know what, it's time to go. That's all we need. And again,
It's always go time here. ReignOver, the tankiest member, is going to move in for it. CLG is going to pressure into the turret. Stixxay now starting to crit the structures down as well. They will break in the top half. And Adrian, yeah, you better book it. CLG going to take a second inhibitor here. Just what to do for Immortals. They're trying everything they can. But CLG's defense looking on point as always, and they are happy to match Immortals blow for blow.
Huni has TP. They're trying to chase them down. Stall long enough that the TP can come through.
See if the miracle's here. Adrian already caught off to the side, though. Stixxay again charges up the cannon.
Oh, he canceled it.
That's not good news for CLG. They're actually a little low here. Immortals might have something here, but Huhi goes in for the stun. Xmithie and his GA will be popped. And that's just going to be wasted cooldowns here. CLG get a little sloppy retreating, and Immortals punished.
It's kind of the best they could hope for, though, on CLG's side, because they went in, they got that second inhibitor. They could have lost much more, but they lose Xmithie and his GA.
Yeah, CLG are looking at Elder Dragon coming up next, plus Baron's coming up in almost a little less than 2 minutes. Immortals right now just have to clean out their base. They're pretty much on minion duty as 2 lines of super minions are coming in. So Immortals, they just need to turtle right now and not go outside onto the map. They can't afford to get picked off by Jhin bullets and Shen standing united coming in again. Try and farm up until that last fight is inevitable and throw everything that they have at it.
Pressure's still cascading here, though, as Baron is up in a minute 20. CLG can look to threaten for yet another big neutral, and even Elder Dragon will be up in a minute 45 if that's something they're also entertaining. Right now, Immortals are just playing janitor duty in their top and mid lanes as CLG pretty much full to the brim as far as items go. It's an embarrassment here as they watch this one again.
Arrow comes through, it hits Aphromoo, and he's just defending here. They pick up ReignOver, 1478. These crits are actually going to be quite absurd with this Jhin build because he already has the Infinity Edge too.
Yeah, Stixxay with the last bullets as well as the last shot of the curtain call has been finding those executions. Got that one on ReignOver, also got the one on Pobelter, and he plus Huhi with the Syndra ultimate have really been claiming a lot of Immortals.
Yeah, and none of them are really building any armor. The only armor item in sight is a Chain Vest right now on Huni because of the fact now it's Glacial Shroud as well for Adrian, but it's because they're just so afraid of Huhi's damage and being the one that he picks to blow up. So they itemize towards that first. And now we have this Armor Pen who's basically doing true damage.
I mean, the armor
these guys
can't really help them right now. Will help as it stacks up, but CLG is a little too far ahead. Poor Minion gets the ReignOver treatment as it just evaporates. And CLG looking to push him for this last inhibitor turret. Immortals are running out of base to defend.
Yep, I'm sure they'd buy more items if they could. They are down 10,000 gold, and CLG are trying to move in here. They have Darshan split pushing up top, and that he's just trying to usher that super minion line of minions up to the Nexus turret, because if you leave those alone, they'll take it by themselves.
Yeah, and when you think about Karma as wave clear, not amazing against these super minions because she has a decent amount of cooldown, but she only has 2 damaging abilities in her kit. She's not like a normal mage.
Swing and a miss for Huni. Darshan manages to slip out from under that ulti. That pulls the trigger for CLG. ReignOver not going to get snared up there. Adrian maybe considering to turn it around, but Immortals do regroup under the turret.
It's still going on. Darshan is trying to get out of this.
He's out, but he took a lot of damage for it. Huni with a nice little play there does chase the Shen out.
He got the Standing Knight too, and this is right before Elder Dragon comes up.
Yeah, strong defense of the base here. Strong defense of the base here for Immortals, and they are able to hold. But the problem is that those neutrals just came up, and those are the things that CLG want to draw Immortals away from their base with. Because if you draw them out onto the map, all you have to do is keep them out there, and the minions will do that work for you. Elder Dragon's going to be the one that they use. They've got wards everywhere, so I don't even think Immortals can go over there.
Exactly. They're going to try to go for the Baron and try to blow that up.
This could be, it's an interesting move because if you go buy Baron, you're threatening that, hey, we're crazy enough to burn Baron down and try and use Baron-empowered recalls to get back to our base and trade those for you. The only thing is that's a huge risk in itself if you decide to do that because you're corralling yourself into a small area. Plus, it does a lot of damage, but they're doing it, and they're going to pull CLG off. Can they burn it down in time?
They're racing the minions as well. Nexus turret almost down, but Immortals, the Baron actually does fall down.
Can they get the recalls off? They need to
Huni's almost Mega Gnar. He's trying to flank right now. He's going to try to go for a game-winning play.
Immortals, this is it. If you want your miracle, it has maybe arrived, but CLG going to chase him back away. Huni doesn't quite connect for the flank. Immortals are chasing him, but Stixxay's melting him. Huni, that's the ulti, but I don't think that's quite enough. His GA's going to pop, and CLG, I think they have to back away here. Immortals actually maybe turning it around. Darshan flashes into the backlines, and the damage seems to be there. Huhi, look at it, flashes forward, gets the ulti down, but he doesn't blow anyone up. Xmithie still taking a lot of damage. This is a crazy fight as Adrian gonna get himself started. CLG, they just power their way through.
Oh, Pobelter! Almost CLG again by the skin of their teeth. Everybody has flashing health bars.
That's why it's such a risky play. You got the Baron, but you have to also be able to get off those recalls to defend your base. Right now, Darshan is going to finish the game as the rest of the team is going to finish ReignOver, but he takes Huhi with him.
That's the only death of this game as ReignOver gets a little bit of sweet justice back. But CLG are going to look to try and close it out. Darshan on a one-man mission right now. There's Aphromoo and Xmithie to help him out as CLG stand firm and look to take game number one. Huni's up in 5 seconds. Best of luck.
They don't have that much damage, though. These are all of their non-carries.
They have a lot of time here.
Yeah.
And it's only going to be Adrian coming up first. Oh, no, who?
Yeah, Huni's here.
Huni's there.
The W is actually enough.
Refuge.
Darshan taunts him. I think that's enough.
Yeah.
CLG going to look for the Nexus. They will take it. As CLG claim game number one.
And they play it the way Immortals want to play it, but they exclude Huni, they make it a frustrating match for them, and they come out on top. CLG taking game one.
It's all about the big changes for CLG. They played around mid lane. Huhi took a level 6 kill champion with Ignite, and he got the kill. Solo kill, first blood. Also, the Xmithie ganks down bottom to get bottom snowballing. They know that this is a 2-carry team. Both of the 2 carries had success early, and that's why the Immortals strategy of forcing those fights constantly wasn't able to prevail, because the carries there from CLG got too powerful too early.
And I think it's just such a great draft here as well, having the Shen to pull attention away. You know Darshan's not going to be the carry of this team, but Huni wants to be the carry of Immortals, and since lane swaps are kind of out of the question, right, you can't have somebody on the opposite side of the map. You can't really have that until later on, but that was already too late. Solo kills had already come out. ReignOver wasn't focusing Huhi early on, trying to help out in that top lane.
We just knew adaptation was going to be so crucial here as these teams moved into the series, and I think they've both made some changes, but it really does just feel like at least after game one, Immortals taken steps and CLG have just taken strides.
Right, and this is a best of 5, so it's all about composure and how you can handle yourself from game to game. Adapt for the next one. Immortals should not be caught off guard again. I don't think we'll see Pobelter getting solo killed again, but you know, you never know.
I think we might see a Shen ban as well, because that just seemed like it was really frustrating for the team of Immortals. Shut down everything they really wanted to do early on, and also pulled the pressure away from where they want to have it.
Well, with game one complete, let's hand it back to Riv and the analysts.